why don't you introduce yourselves? Why don't you tell everyone who's interested in the Trailblazer Tribe, interested in Trailblazers Retreat, who you are, and maybe can you put a twist on it, why you are on this adventure of entrepreneurship?
You want to go first, Austin, or do you want me to go?
Sure, yeah. So my name is Austin Felton, and I have been working on tech startups for a number of years. I've always been kind of fascinated with the way things work and how to create something from nothing, and I've never actually been employed in my entire life. So I've been very lucky to be an entrepreneur from a very early age. And so right now I'm working on this hosting company for online businesses that makes your site really, really fast and increases conversion and like does lots of other awesome things for entrepreneurs, namely, speed, making it really easy for them to use, making it easy for non-technical people to manage their technology, because I saw there as being a huge need with that. Mm-hmm. And so that has been what I've been working on recently, and I also kind of build web apps for some consulting clients on the side.
Wow. I mean, I can feel myself using your service already. I'm like future-scaping here. I had server problems yesterday. For the server was down for a little while, and I had to like figure out what was going on with my team. And I'm not necessarily the tech server type. So yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you need help, give us a call.
Yeah, I will.
This is part of why I built the Trailblazer Tribe. I knew so many remarkable people all over the planet, and I just was like, I need to connect you, and I need you to know about his business and her business, and I need you all to, and I believe this fundamentally. Like, we all have these powerful gifts, abilities that we've, integrated and woven into our products and our services and our offerings. And it's just a matter of taking that step and connecting. Like even Austin getting on here and being on camera, which he doesn't do very often, and talking about what he does, like it got Mark excited. And I imagine, lots of other people will listen to this live. We've got 15 people on live, and we'll have, handfuls listen to the replay, but getting excited about what you guys offer and hopefully coming to join us in Costa Rica live. But thanks for sharing all your juiciness, Austin.
No problem.
So Mark, tell everyone about you. Tell them what you're up to. Oh, and Austin's website is entrecore.com. I'll do that. So entrecore.com. And he will be one of the workshop leaders at Trailblazers Retreat 2016.
I am excited. I mean, I'm literally bookmarking that immediately after this and checking that out. Yeah, I mean, my path is it's quite the journey. It really started for me when I recognized two things. Number one, I really just didn't want a job where I sat in traffic. Like, I know this is a twist in my story, but this is a job that I hate traffic. And so I became an entrepreneur. One of the reasons I became an entrepreneur is that I never had to drive through rush hour traffic to work and from work every day. No. But that's seriously one of the reasons. The number one reason that has inspired me over the last couple of years is I actually 5 years ago dove into the world of documentaries in a big way, and I started watching a documentary a week. And I made myself a challenge. I was going to do this for a year. And so literally pretty much every Sunday I would watch either a documentary or a series of TED Talks and a whole bunch of stuff about all the different problems on the planet, whether it be like vanishing of the bees or the problems with the oceans or the problems surrounding sustainability and climate change, whether it came to, we're using too much plastic, or there's health problems that are coming with the fact that we're not eating right or living balanced lives, or the lies of the education system. And I was like, man, like this is just taking over. Like I just went down this like vicious spiral. And I really do I think traffic is probably way better than watching 52 documentaries in a year because it was very depressing. And I kind of entered this space where I didn't know what to do. And so finally, I just decided I was going to do something. I kept being in my mind, trying to figure out tangibly, like, oh, okay, where am I going to get to this result? And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, and possibly some of you listening to this, sometimes you're caught up in your own mind. You're caught up in like, oh, this is the result, and this is a way that I'm going to get there, and this is how I'm going to make this happen. And I feel very drawn to Trailblazers and very drawn specifically to what Linan is putting together in Costa Rica this March, because I feel like it's going to bring people back to their heart, back to understanding, hey, wait a second, why did we get into this in the first place? Why are we trying to blaze this trail? Why are we trying to go down this? Yeah, exactly. Like what seriously, like I every once in a while you get caught up in this loop of like, I'm posting on Facebook all the time and it's part of my job. And it's like, wait, what? How did that happen? And so what I can say though is that we've built a script, we've built a story. And when I watched all these documentaries, I immersed myself in a whole bunch of stories, and I felt disempowered with all of them. But what I chose to do about it is I chose to buy a 60 some odd acre piece of land, walk out into the middle of a Monsanto GMO cornfield and plant a tree. And I didn't own the land at the time. I actually just planted the tree and then I bought the land. And then I just decided I was going to build a sustainability learning center. I was going to build a community space, a school that I wish I could have attended, that I wish I could have been a part of. And it was going to surround these kind of 4 core tenets: sustainability, community, knowledge, and action, and spreading that through a way that I just felt wasn't happening in our current paradigm today. And so, a couple of years later now, obviously 5 years down the road, I've started something called the Valhalla Movement Foundation, valhallamovement.com if you want to check that out. Something called Wisdom, Build Your Wisdom, which is an eco lifestyle design firm, and we're building kind of eco houses and making them sexy and cool and something your mom would like or you would pin on Pinterest or something. I also started a school for everyday superheroes, because I really believe that entrepreneurs are superheroes. I really believe that people like you and I and all these people who are listening, we have the capacity and the responsibility to use the gifts of technology, to use the things that the abundance that we have today to actually audaciously blaze our own trail, actually audaciously also solve some of the world's biggest problems. And so, that's a little bit of me in a nutshell. I can keep going, but at some point.
See the adventure of you discovering what you were doing, how you were going to do it, how you're going to do it in a bigger way. I know you've been doing even more exciting things with Valhalla, with taking prefab houses and making them more eco. And I mean, this was something I learned at the very beginning of my entrepreneur journey. It was like, what are you angry about? Like, what are you fucking mad about? Like, what makes your skin crawl? And like, or listening to others. What is making other people angry and making their skin crawl and making them frustrated, and really finding that pain point. And I've always said, try not to take it and manipulate it, but really take that and build something real, build something that they actually need, that they actually will pay money for, and that you can use and you can sell for years to come. Like that's a huge part of the Trailblazer community, is creating entrepreneurship that has longevity, that has something that you can continue to generate money and you can continue to sustain your lifestyle. So on the topic of adventure, both of you travel a ton, and everybody pretty much knows how much I travel. But I want you to talk about like what kind of a wild ride entrepreneurship has been for you. Just meeting new people, seeing new places. Both of you have had multiple businesses. Just what does that look like? How does that feel?
It's a roller coaster. Because, I think the thing that most people don't talk about entrepreneurship is that it is an emotional roller coaster. It is a complete wild ride with ups and downs, and there will be some of the best days you've ever had, which I think is what people talk about the most. But then there's also like the biggest challenges that you will face, both literally, like emotionally, and
spiritually, energetically,
like it's you will face the dark night of the soul when you are an entrepreneur, because there will be those times when shit hits the fan and you have to get your creative genius working and figure a way out of a mess. And I think it's actually those times when we're tested the most that we get tempered into a stronger human being, And so it's one of those things where, I think the difference between entrepreneurship and a more traditional lifestyle is that traditional lifestyles, you have a very like even keeled experience. As with entrepreneurship, it's like up and down and up and down, and it's a wild ride, but it's exciting, and that's life, and that's what's so great about the experience. Is
there like a specific story you can tell of like a time, maybe if you want to share a dark night of the soul, or just when things got a little funky and you had to like my favorite quote is like, we're literally jumping off the cliff and building the wings or the airplane as we're falling, like as we're about to getting closer and closer to the ground, we're creating the apparatus that's going to fly us out of the situation. So is there something in your head where you can like remember a time where it was just like things were tough or things were challenging and how you literally made the airplane as you were falling?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the biggest things is, related to money, because there will be times when you're scaling that you have to be where you have to like go into the negative or barely break even so you can get to the next level. And I've done that a few times. I remember one time, this was actually last year, at the end of last year, where I didn't know how I was going to make payroll. And I had, like 3 or 4 people on my team that, like they relied on me to give them money for food and shelter and, basic human needs. And so it's kind of a lot of responsibility, And so I had to get really creative, and I made up some new product in a weekend that I sold to someone that was really valuable to them. It was very, very niche, very specific to that person. And that was a way that I kind of like got out of this like really scary place of not being able to pay my employees, because when you ramp up to the next level, it's like your expenses are suddenly huge for a second, and you've got to be able to like scale the revenue up with that. And it can be really scary.
I love that. You made something out of nothing. It's crazy. When I was naming this lab, we originally were talking about maybe calling it something funny like the secret life of an entrepreneur. And you kind of just exposed us. Like, I remember when my bank account got really low and my credit cards were very, very high. And one of my mentors was like, big corporations have tons of capital available to them when they're growing and when they're building new departments and when they're downsizing things. And I had to really think of myself like a big company, even though I was a small business, even though I didn't have as much disposable, capital available to me. And that's a mindset shift too. And so, I know that the Trailblazer Tribe for me has like regularly been a mirror for like different mindset possibilities for me, because I had to know that it would be okay and that I could create something out of nothing, right? I could create a product in a weekend. I've created a product in an hour, I knew somebody was like a warm lead, and I was like, well, what do they really need? They need this. I want to create a special package for them because I need that money to pay the bill, to pay payroll, to do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's a miracle happening in and of itself constantly. The road of entrepreneurship for me is just one miracle after the next miracle after the next miracle of somehow paying my bills, somehow getting to, accepting some big challenge. Like, I used to do a lot of marketing work when I was, a couple of years ago, and I still do a whole bunch today, more so the team does at this point. But when I was first started, we were taking on websites and challenges that I had never even come close to doing. Like, oh, you want to build us an e-commerce website? We have 6,000 products. I'm like, yeah, no problem. We'll do it, no problem. I had never done it. And I would say that actually most of the things that I do, all the businesses that I run, look, I'm starting an architectural firm with prefab eco houses that are off the grid. Like, do you think I've ever built a house in my life? No, I've never done. I know nothing about this. When it came to sustainability, I knew nothing about what it would take to plant a tree, or what permaculture was, or what any of this stuff was, of running a tribe, let alone a movement. Like, I had never done this. So every single time you're going to feel a certain feeling of kind of excitement, but also fear when it comes to taking that next step and jumping up to that next level. And I know for a fact that the number one way to do that is to find somebody else who's in the exact same position, and just being able to share with those people from time to time and be like, oh, you're struggling too. And every once in a while, you have no idea how you're paying your bills either. It's like, yeah, that's great, because I feel that way all the time. And that is such an empowering position to be in, to know that other people resonate with you. Other people share some of the same pains, the same fears, but that they also find their way through it. And the adventure of traveling the world, or the adventure of all the things that you see, all those highlight reels that you see on everyone's Facebook or Twitter or whatever it is, that's great. Like, look, the other day I was in Paris. I was at COP21, the Paris climate talks and all that stuff. I had an amazing time, an amazing adventure. What you didn't see, though, is that all day I was filming, and then all night I was editing until like 4 a.m., waking up at 9 a.m., going back out there to film and do all that stuff. Exactly. I did yeah, my trip was fun. I did 2 weeks of sleeping like 3 hours a night, and filming and creating content and doing so much stuff. So it's not always as glorious as what we, what is seen by everyone else. But I think that's kind of what Trailblazers is also tackling, is like, hey, we're going to go out into Costa Rica. We're having a good time. We're going to relax a little bit too. We're going to take a moment to stop and think, because so many of us, enter the game of entrepreneurship, and we have this idea in mind and we start marching towards it, but then eventually we passed it. Eventually we've already achieved all those things that we originally had in our mind at the beginning. And now years down the road, we've forgotten to stop and think. We've forgotten to stop and be like, wait a second, what am I doing right now? And am I really offering the services that I want to be offering? Am I really at the price point that I want to be doing this? Am I even close to the job that I want to be doing at this point? So it's not just about entrepreneur, right? It's not just about being an entrepreneur, but it's about serving the community, serving people in a way that truly is creating that win-win for you. And that win-win might have been something you got comfortable with. It might have been a win for you in the past, and maybe you're foregoing an opportunity that you've been thinking about in the back of your mind, that you just haven't had the time to sit down and say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this right now. And so I'm excited to show up to Costa Rica and to do just that. I've got an idea that I'm showing up with that I just want to kind of really think through during that week specifically. And I know that I would hope that everyone else would come and do the same. And those moments where I stopped and I stopped on that roller coaster, and instead of pressing the button to go around again, those moments where I took a break
and take a deep breath.
Deep breath, or just a puke or something, just whatever. That moment is invaluable. And I think, at this time of year with the holidays coming and all this stuff, we start to recognize, some of the patterns and some of the shifts that we're making in our minds. And we start to say, oh, in 2016, I'm going to do this. And well, let me tell you something. We're not in 2016 yet. What if we have to commit to what we're going to do in 2016 and 2015, right now? What if you committed right now to go to Costa Rica and to go and to take this moment immediately? Why wait for the money to roll in later? Why wait for the perfect time? Because it's not going to be there. It's just never the perfect time for anything. So there are times that things line up and the stars line up, and I count my blessings when they do. But for the most part, you just got to make it happen. And so, I invite you to take that risk and jump on that journey, because it's the only way the magic ever happens. It's the only way it's ever happened for me, and it's always been a miracle after the other.
I think that's something I can reflect on for my adventure as an entrepreneur. Whenever I took like a big kind of risk that literally made me want to throw up, that cleaned out my bank account, that, I didn't really know why I was doing it, but I felt called. I felt moved to say yes and to join. I had to do it. And I've seen people do this with Trailblazers Retreat. I've seen it happen in my life where I said yes to something and the money showed up, the babysitter that I needed showed up, whatever you need in your life to make something like a week in Costa Rica happen will show up for you. And I think that's some of the magic of entrepreneurship that people don't talk about enough, is that we really kind of are the masters of our own domain. We're like these wizards who can like move things around and rearrange things just to align for us. And I call myself a retreat junkie. I've been going to retreats for over 10 years. I love personal growth. I love spirituality. But every time I signed up for a workshop or a retreat or a seminar, the retreat or the seminar started the moment I signed up. It's not in March when you get to Costa Rica. It's that moment when you put the deposit down or you hop on the phone with me. That's when the retreat begins, because you started that neural pathway moving of possibility and even attracting in the right people and the right opportunities. It starts then.
Yeah, and the commitment is almost the biggest thing. It's almost like it's literally half the retreat. It's just I put it on my credit card and I'm going. Like, and this
hardest part is getting there. Once you're there, it's easy. That's what I always say.
Exactly. And to put that, to take that step, it's just like anybody else. When you have a vacation and you know it's coming, you know that the relief is coming and you have something to look forward to. It makes all those other days leading up to that vacation or leading up to that moment so much more epic and fun. And I know that I have to, like, I'm the personal type of person that I need to have something on my agenda where I'm going somewhere, because that's kind of what gets me through all the other crazy that I'm doing at any one moment. So yeah, I mean, it's a necessity on my calendar. And the truth is also that if it's not scary, then it might not be worth doing, and might not be worth going, right? And it's never, it will always feel scary. Throwing down some money or taking time away, or you have to leave your family or your friends or whatever behind.
Passport, getting on the airplane, buying that ticket.
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary, but it's in those moments where we face those fears that we excel and we grow enormously.
So you guys, what do you think about maybe talking about some of the things that we're going to talk about at the retreat?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, go ahead. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I think that, a lot of entrepreneurs are perfectionists, and Mark kind of touched on this, like we're so hyper focused on the 1% of things that aren't perfect in our lives and in our businesses. And we are constantly in this mode of growing and, increasing our capability. And it's like, that's great and that's fantastic. But at the same time, you have to take a moment to stop and recognize how far you've come and where you started, because I think that a lot of times we're so future focused on what we're building next that we don't take that time of recognition and self-love of what we've accomplished. And they're both important, your relationship to your past and your relationship to the future is both very important. But one of the things that we're going to do at the Trailblazers retreat is we're all going to create space for each other to, recognize how far we've come and celebrate that and really feel that and take a moment to pause. And then, once you have that realization, your confidence gets boosted, because so many of us, we tie our identity and our confidence to what we have yet to accomplish, what we're still doing, what we still want to do. And I think that one of the ways to boost your confidence and to feel complete instead of this like chasing something that and not being enough is to recognize how far you've come and look at your past and say, whoa, that's some crazy shit I did back there. And here I am now in Costa Rica, on the beach with these amazing people and, having communion with them and being in a community. And I think that's fantastic. And then the other thing that we're going to talk about is the future, which is taking some time to really think through, not only are we on point and on purpose with what we're doing, but also, how do we get there? Because there's two parts to the future. One is the, kind of the why, like the purpose-driven side of it. And then there's the how, which is more the strategy and the tactics. And there's going to be all of that. It's going to be all encompassing, which is great, And so I'm really excited about that, because I know that at the retreat, everyone's going to get a taste of celebrating their accomplishments, but also planning the whole next level of success for themselves.
Yeah. And to build upon that, I mean, I won't talk about all the things I'm going to say or want to bring to the table, but I will say one thing, and it's important to think about, every single entrepreneur has a million ideas that we want to kind of see come off the ground. I could think of like a million books that I want to write, a million things I want to do. The number of companies and things I want to revolutionize is just endless. And it's almost sickening, right? And it almost makes me hurt inside that I'm not doing all of them. And I think there is, however, a way to do some of those things in a method that is way more like satisfying, in a method that allows us, like Austin said, to sit, chill, celebrate, find a way there. Did you say coffee? Is that what you said?
No, healthy. Oh, okay. Just finding a healthy way.
Coffee too. Coffee helps. Yeah, coffee helps.
There's lots of coffee beans.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
No, but what I'm trying to say is, we have all of these fires that we want to start, and I kind of equate life kind of like, we only have two things that we can really control in our life. And that's kind of the intentions, our why, right? And the attention that we put into it. And what we choose to put our attention to is some of these different fires and things that we want to create. So imagine you're walking through the forest for a second. And you're walking through this forest and you have this magnifying glass. And that's your attention, right? Just kind of like, if I tell you to look out in the corner, you still see me over here on your screen, but you can't focus on me. And if you can't focus on me, you can't really make that fire start in the exact same way that if you keep moving your magnifying glass and you're trying to start a fire with the sun, right, with the energy of the universe and the sun and all that stuff, that fire is not going to start. If you're trying to start too many fires by moving around from one thing to the other and never really starting one good fire that feeds and fuels the other fires, then you're going to be in a position where you're going to feel overwhelmed consistently. And how many entrepreneurs feel overwhelmed? I know I feel overwhelmed constantly, okay? But every once in a while I get back to myself and I say, well, wait a second, what is the one thing I need to do today that's going to make me not feel overwhelmed anymore? What is that one thing that's going to make me move closer to that vision, closer to that mission that I have? And what can I put my attention on just for a little bit, just right here, right now, that allows me to make this fire? And once I have this one fire that's burning bright and that's really working for you, and it's bringing in that steady income, it's creating a source of you no longer have to really sell anymore. You're just doing things and people show up and are interested and it just works. When you can align yourself in that way, it's because you started the right fire. And what you can do with that right fire is you can take and carry a torch from that fire to start the next fire. And that's the easiest way to start a fire, is to start a fire with fire. So as opposed to trying to grow all 20 of your ideas in 2016, how can we focus on one of those ideas? And so I would love to lead a little bit of how we're going to focus in on and make sure to remove all that noise, to make sure that we're really clear and really focused on that vision, and make sure that when we get back home from Costa Rica, that we are on that mission. We're very clear and we can make it happen. And it won't take months and months to do. It might just take a couple of weeks. It might take a couple of hours. It will happen way more clearly. It will happen way more effectively. And it won't be the same struggle that we have when we're trying to start numerous fires.
Totally. Mark, one of the things that I see a lot of entrepreneurs do is they keep their brilliance and their amazing ideas in their head and they don't let it out, and they create in a vacuum. But the thing is that creation doesn't happen in a vacuum. Creation happens when you get these little nuggets of gold from other people about your idea. You might not even implement something that someone tells you, but it might spark something else. It's that feedback loop of talking to a lot of people about your ideas. So I think that, a lot of the times I see entrepreneurs who are like, no, I can't tell people my $1 billion idea because I have to get everyone to sign a non-disclosure agreement first. And, and I think that's really stupid, because the value of an idea has very little to do with the idea itself, but has everything to do with the implementation and the execution of that idea. And so when you go get with an awesome group of people, like the amazing people you're going to find in Costa Rica at the retreat, is you're going to be with these people that you can trust and who are smart and who can help you talk through your idea. And you were talking about focus. That was the key thing you were talking about there. And the way to focus there is to get other people to help you kind of delineate that idea from this big amorphous blob into like clear action steps. Like, here's what I need to do in the next few like days, months, years to do it and make it happen. And that's, I think, one of the really valuable things that people are going to get at the retreat from the Cindy's, you know?
So as you guys can see, these are my action guys. This is the masculine embodied, which is what me and Mark were talking about on Facebook the other day. But, you know, the other two ladies are definitely, you know, going to be working with your bodies and getting out of your head and into your body, getting into your heart, a lot of what Mark was talking about. But these two gentlemen have several businesses between them, you know, tons and tons, and probably almost, I'm sure, over $1 million in revenue together. And they're going to help us break it down. And you both have so much inspiration as well to share. And it's just going to be, I mean, so delicious, so delectable. I can't even wait. But I'm hearing you guys talking about this, and I'm already getting excited. I'm already excited about people are going to come and be completely transformed with, you know, where they're focusing their energy on their business so they can be more effective, they can be more productive, they can be generating more money. And so their lifestyle, their families, their friends, their relationships are also going to benefit. I mean, I think that's one of the perks of Trailblazers. And, you know, we've talked a lot about at this retreat, you know, being action oriented and getting the strategy. But a lot of the work we do at the beginning of the week is going to be just like Austin said, getting focused, getting in the moment, just being there and celebrating and having a blast and having fun and being playful, because I often say if it ain't fun, it won't get done in business. So unless you can have a joyful experience with business, unless you can be fully aligned and being sure that the work you're doing is something you want to jump out of bed and do every day, you know, you're not going to do anything we tell you to do or anything we recommend to you. Anybody mirrors back to you your idea, your fire, your passion. So the power of this community will be just remarkable. We're going to be in Costa Rica, March 19th through the 26th, 7-day full immersion. Both these sexy gentlemen are going to be there, and their beautiful brains. And we're going to really dig in, and we're half full. We're already half full. It's awesome. So excited. So we have a few more spots left, and we'd love you guys to join us. So you can hop over to trailblazersretreat.com. You can request some time to talk to me. I'm sure these gentlemen would love to answer any questions too. But yeah, we are creating something big together, and I'm so grateful for both of you. Is there anything lasting thought or idea or concept or wisdom you want to share with everybody?
Yeah, I mean, I just am really excited to meet Mark in person.
Oh, gracious. Oh, man, I'm so humbled. Yeah, and I'm super excited to meet all of you in person. I would, you know, anybody who's listening, I'm super excited to be there, to be present, to have a great time, to shift out of that I mentality into that we mentality, where we can work together, we can support each other, where we can try on each other's shoulders, and we can go laugh and play in the ocean too, or something. You know what I mean? And I'm super, super, super excited to see you all there. And I can't wait to share and answer any of your questions, and more so even to learn from you, because I know you guys and girls out there have so much to teach, even me. And that's where I learn. That's where I get my wisdom. So yeah, I'm excited for all of it, and grateful for the opportunity in every sense of the word.
Oh, that was such a great little thought bubble, Mark. I created the retreat not to say I'm better than anyone or that I have more wisdom in one area or another. Each of the participants is going to come with so much knowledge, and we really open it up in strategy time for the whole community to contribute and to share their wisdom. And I even sit back, relax. That's why I have workshop leaders. I sit back and I get to be a participant. I get to soak in your guys' knowledge too. And it's really this community effort. And one of our trailblazers, Charmaine, she often says it best. She says, when you know that the community is behind you, like to uplift you, to get you out of any hole you fall into, you kind of feel unstoppable. Like, I can do anything. I can take that big leap. I can follow that big dream, even though it's been like hiding somewhere in me, or that big scaling or that big expansion idea that, you know, you're just like, there's some resistance or there's some blocks. I mean, basically we're going to evaporate those blocks. We're going to evaporate those things. So, so excited for March. Yay. We're going to be on Blab every week. We're we're going to bounce back and forth. Next week is Christmas, so we probably won't be on Thursday. So we'll probably be on earlier in the week on Monday or Tuesday, but just stay tuned to the channel. Thank you, Mark. I think Austin hopped off because he has a call, but thank you, Austin. Love you guys. Everyone, you can check out trailblazersretreat.com. Find out more details about Costa Rica. We're also going to Peru at the end of next year. Love you guys. Thanks for joining. Thank you, Mark. Love you.
Love you too. Bye. Have a good one, guys.
Bye, everyone.